workplace of Patti Donnelly at the Marlboro Meeting House School. My name is Roxanne Burke. Today's production crew is on video camera, Ben Kowalski, on audio recorder, Ben Kowalski, and on still camera, Tony Roberts. I'd like to ask you a few questions about your background. Have you always lived in Marlboro, or did you move here from somewhere?
I moved here from somewhere else. I don't know from where. I grew up in Philadelphia, and I lived there until I went to college at 18, and I moved to Vermont when I was 28, and I lived in Putney, Westminster until 6 years ago. I moved to Marlboro.
Yeah. When did you move to Marlboro?
6 years ago.
What are some of the reasons why you moved here?
Well, to be closer to my job, which was here. I was traveling from Putney over to here, so one was to be closer to my work. And my two children were in a Waldorf school that was closing, and I was looking for a school that I liked, that I was comfortable with, and I thought Marlboro would be a really nice match for them. So we moved over.
Okay. Where specifically in Marlboro do you live?
I live on Ames Hill Road, just past Turnpike, 2197 Ames Hill Road. That's my address.
Where else have you lived as an adult?
So, as a young adult, I went to college outside of Philadelphia, and it was the country for me. My first country experience was in Berks County, Pennsylvania, and from there I moved to Arizona, just outside Phoenix, a place called Cave Creek, Arizona. I lived there for a couple of years, and then I split with my boyfriend of that time and moved back east to be around my family and sort of go in a different direction. And then I made my way up to Vermont.
What are your parents' names and what have been their careers?
My parents' names are Marjorie Donnelly and Joseph Donnelly. And my dad was a banker. He's now retired. He was a banker for his whole entire career. And my mother, she was a secretary until she met my dad. And then when she met my father, they married, and she had 4 kids in 4 years. And she was a stay-at-home mom.
Would you please tell us a little bit about where you were born and lived as a child?
Okay, I was born in Philadelphia at Chestnut Hill Hospital, November 6th, 1970, under the sign of Scorpio. And I lived with my older sister, Helen. She's a year older. And I have 2 younger brothers who are twins, Matthew and Jeffrey. And we all lived together with my mom and my dad. In a 2-story home in a really lively neighborhood. It was very, I could walk to my grade school. It was a Catholic school, with lots of Irish Catholic neighborhoods, so some small families like ours with just 4 kids, but also many larger families with 12 kids, 14 kids. We actually had one family, the Martins, that had 17 children. The Valentines had 7, McMenamins, they had 9. So a really lively neighborhood, always lots of people to play with.
How would you describe yourself when you were a child?
When I was a child, I was very shy when I was young. I was actually held back in kindergarten because I was too shy. I knew my numbers and colors and shapes, but the teacher said, she's so shy. When someone would talk to me, I would just cry. So I had to do 2 years of kindergarten. So I was very shy up until probably about 14, 15. And then I just really got comfortable with myself and dove into some interests of mine and became very social. Friends and different activities. And got really focused on social work and that sort of activist area.
What were some of your interests or hobbies when you were young?
I played a lot of basketball. I was always on the school basketball team. I played softball. And I was into gardening, but we only had a very small backyard, so I had this little strip of soil that I would plant tomatoes in, and I thought I was a green thumb. But I like to read about plants and how they grow, different flowers. I was into that, and I was into, yeah, I'll just stop there.
Which of them have you continued to be interested in?
Plants. Definitely still interested in plants. And sports have sort of faded away. But I do enjoy playing sports with my kids in the backyard, just soccer, frisbee, badminton. I definitely still enjoy competition.
What was your elementary school like for you when you were a child?
My elementary school was, I had to wear a uniform because it was a Catholic school. So I remember it was green and blue plaid, and I had a little tie that I had to wear. My class was about, I was just looking at this recently, about 32 children in each grade as I went up, and it was a Catholic school, so religion was the first class of the day, and we would talk about Catholic things. And then the rest was quite normal. It was English and math, science, writing, and we had a basketball team and softball team. And it was very social because many of us would walk to school, so I would walk to school with a group of kids, and that was always fun. So, it was sort of like a family experience. In the neighborhood we all lived, and then we would walk to school, and there we were in school together. So it was quite nice. I was taught by nuns.
How many brothers or sisters do you have, and what are their names? Where do they live now?
Yeah, I have an older sister, Helen. She's named after my dad's mom. And she is 48, and she lives in Cleveland, Ohio, with her husband and her 2 children. And then I have 2 younger brothers that are soon to be 44, and their names are Matthew and Jeffrey, and one lives in Philadelphia, and one lives in Atlantic City, New Jersey.
What high school did you go to?
I went to Bishop McDevitt High School. It's a Catholic high school, and that school I took a bus to, and that was a very large class, close to about 800 children in my class. Lots of children. It was mixed racially, even though it was a Catholic school, it was mixed. You could be Pentecostal, you could be Baptist, you could be Catholic, you could be many different sort of religions could go there if you wanted something that wasn't a public school. So it was, even though it was a Catholic school, it was mixed in many ways.
Would you describe yourself differently as a teenager than when you were a child?
Would I describe myself differently?
Would you describe yourself differently as when you were a teenager?
I think I was always a pretty happy child when I was very little, and I sort of have maintained that even through my teen years, where people say you can have teen angst. Not that I didn't have hard times when I was a teen, but I sort of have always been a happy person. And I felt sort of alive and good. I'm just much less shy than I used to be. When I was little, I was very, very shy. And now I'll talk to, here I sit with you 3 in the camera, so, yeah.
May I ask how old you are now?
I am 46.
What are your children's names?
I have 2 children. One is 13, and his name is Jeremiah Hawk. And I have a younger son. His name is Seth Orion, and he's 10. And he's in school with you.
Yeah. Who have been their teachers at Marlboro School?
So Jeremiah has had Judy, Erica, Pam, David, and now he has Rachel and Tim. And Orion has had Ellen, Judy, and Erica.
Okay. For how many years have you been the lead teacher at the Marlboro Meeting House School?
Well, many years ago, before I had Jeremiah, he was 13, I started teaching here. And I was here for 2 years, and then I got pregnant with Jeremiah and took some time away, and then I came back here 7 years ago. So 9 years total. Yeah.
Will you please talk about the path that led you to holding your job?
Path that led, oh gosh, that's a big question. So I was a social worker, and I have a degree, a BA in social work, and I was doing that for a while. I worked at an AIDS hospice, and I worked with young children and families in mental health. And then I just got really tired of the bureaucracy, and which means paperwork, and less time with people. So I decided, I think I'd like a career change. So I went back to school at Antioch, and I became a teacher.
What college or university did you attend?
I went to Kutztown University for my undergraduate, and for my master's I went to Antioch, which is over in Keene, New Hampshire.
What was your plan of study there?
At Antioch it was Waldorf education. So, and I chose that thinking that I would like to teach, but I wanted to teach not only ABC and numbers and early literacy, but I also wanted something about the inner life of the child. So I chose Waldorf, and then I got also a degree, state license. So it was a combination of those two aspects that I wanted to learn, and so that's what I did.
Did you go to graduate school?
I did. That was for my master's at Antioch.
Where and what was your concentration of study there?
Antioch was, I'm sorry, I didn't answer your question correctly, because that's when I chose Waldorf education. When I did my undergraduate, I did social work.
During your working life, what jobs have you had aside from teaching?
Oh, my very first job, I worked at a preschool down the road from my parents' house. So I would come home from high school, and I'd get something to eat, and I'd walk a block and a half, and it was a day nursery. And I would go in there, and I was the assistant in the afternoon for the teacher there. So pretty much I'd just help her get snack ready and be with the children on the playground and play with them, and then their parents came at about 5 o'clock. So that was my very first job. And then, I lived down at the Jersey Shore for a bit, so I worked on the boardwalk at a candy store, at an old-time photo place where I took photos of people dressed up as like gangsters and barmaids and cowboys and anything. I did that. I cleaned hotel rooms. Also, I was a waitress many times, different points of my life. I never liked that. I was not good at it. I think I've been a cashier at Rite Aid and the co-op. And is that it? Oh, I worked at a greenhouse once in Arizona. It was a big job. You had to water all the time. It was very hot. So anyway, I think those are most of my jobs.
Yeah. How many years did it take to become a professional teacher?
It took me 2.5 years to get my master's and get a teaching degree, but to become a real teacher, aside from getting a degree, but probably took me about 4 years to feel like I know how to teach. So even though I had the degree, I felt very green, and I was just learning as my days went by. Now probably after four years, I felt like I'm a teacher.
What made you want to become a teacher in the first place?
I enjoy being with children. I like seeing them and looking at who they are and how they can best learn to be the best possible friend and person, and sort of giving them tools and lessons that can help them along that way as they go on to kindergarten, first grade, second grade. And so that, and I like the age group of the very young child.
What is it about teaching that has kept your interest?
I think each year getting new students and the challenges that they present to me to be honest and creative in the work that I do with them, it doesn't get dull, and that's something that I have to have in my workplace, or I won't enjoy it.
Where else have you taught?
I taught at the Green Valley School, which was an outdoor Waldorf school. And children spent all day outside. They actually slept outside all year round. And I taught there for 2 years, 3, 4, 5. And then I taught at the Garland School, which is a Waldorf school in Brattleboro. I actually started that school, and that is also for the very young child. And now they actually do babies. And then I sort of wanted more of a mix of Waldorf and also teaching early literacy and mathematics. And the Waldorf school, it's just creative play and socialization. And, but I wanted to combine those two, so I thought this isn't the right place for me. And then from Meeting House, and it was a perfect match.
What are some characteristics of preschool age students that you like?
I like how honest they are. I like that they are very open, that they want to learn, they want to know why this happened, why did that happen, how come I can't just take your toy from you because I want it. I like how loving they are, just naturally. I like their energy level. It suits me. I'm sort of, I can keep up even though I'm 46. So those are the main reasons why I thought I would like to teach 3, 4, and 5-year-olds. Just as they left their home and their family life and coming into a larger world, I thought, oh, I'd like to do that and be there for them.
Do you have a favorite subject or topic or unit to teach your students?
I really enjoy all of them. I mean, it's an amazing age for them to be learning numbers and these lines that form a letter. They actually mean something, they communicate something. It's all pretty amazing. But this, what you see up around the classroom with the bodies that are traced, this is probably one of my favorite blocks. It's sort of them getting to know, do you have long hair or short hair? What color are your eyes? How many eyes do you have? Looking at that, and then I know they're pretty cute. So looking at that, and then we move from that into what's the same about us, what's different about us. You know, some people are in a wheelchair, some people have blonde hair, some people have darker skin, some people have light skin. So we go from looking at yourself to looking at others. And that's probably my most favorite block because I find it to be really meaningful because it's opening up to looking at another person and who they are.
Who would you say has influenced your teaching style, and in what ways have they influenced you?
Okay. I guess the biggest one, even though I worked with him for a very short amount of time, would be Paul Redmond, who actually taught here for about 16 years. And I just, by chance, was sort of like crossing paths one year. He came in for 3 months, but he just taught me so much about classroom management and how to meet the child and who they are, and just gave me many tips about working a classroom. And Paul lived in Marlboro for many years, and I think a few years ago he moved out to Oregon.
What would you say is the most difficult part of your job?
Most difficult part of the job is probably all the behind the scenes tasks, like meeting state regulations and doing this STARS program, doing the recycling, also being the janitor of the building, checking in with the finances, all of that behind the scene things that are necessary, but yet I don't enjoy, and I didn't go to school for that. So I do it, but it's the hardest part for me.
What are some of the benefits of living and working in the same town?
Save on gas. What else? Well, sometimes it's tricky. Is that the next part of the question?
Yeah. The next part is, are there any difficult parts about it?
Okay, so I'll just stick with positives. Very close to your home. You get to form close bonds with people, because children, families, because you see them at the post office or at the basketball game, different town events. You go swimming with them at the pond, you're in your bathing suits with the families, and there's a sense of normalcy about it. And I do like that. And I also like that I can sit here with you, a student that I had many years ago, and I still know you pretty well. And if I lived elsewhere, I wouldn't see you as much. You wouldn't be in class with Orion, and I really wouldn't know what you're up to, but I do know what you're up to. So I also like that about teaching and living in the same town.
Yeah. And then, are there any difficult parts about living in the same town that you teach?
I guess sometimes I would just like a little bit of a break. The good thing I like about is going to South Pond and seeing everyone. It's very normalizing. Sometimes, once in a while, I don't want that. I don't want to be, they call me Miss Honeysuckle, and I don't want to be Miss Honeysuckle at the pond. Sometimes I just want to float around with friends like your mom and be with my kids, and sometimes it gets a little interwoven when I prefer it not to be. And but it's not that big of a deal because it's a really lovely thing, so I don't sweat it.
Were your children ever students at the meeting house while you worked here?
Jeremiah came for 1 year, but I did not work here, and that was here with Kathy Pell and Julia, forget her last name, and that was for 1 year. And then Orion came for his last year of preschool. And I was teaching here at that point.
What are some of the things you liked about that situation?
About my children coming here? Well, let me see. You mean working with Orion in the classroom? I liked seeing what he was doing and watching him learn and grow. But I have to say, to teach my own child in the classroom was actually quite hard. Because, I'm mom and I should serve him first, and I do at home. But here with 10 kids and my own son, it was hard for him to be a 4-year-old and mommy's not attending to him right away. Or why am I making him do this here but not at home? So it was actually fairly tricky.
Would you please describe a typical work day from when you get up in the morning until you go to sleep?
Are you serious? That's a lot of stuff. Okay, I get up about 6:15, and I maybe get breakfast ready. I make sure my kids are up or I get them up. I'm sort of attending to them until they get on the bus at 7:20. Then I come inside and I pretty much brush my teeth and get dressed and jump in my car or bike to here, and I'm here by 7:45 or 8. And the assistant and I, Gemma Bolis, we get the classroom ready and we talk about what the plan is for the day. And then at 8:30 the children come. Do you want me to be really detailed or not too detailed? Really detailed? Okay, so children come in, and at the beginning of the year, the goodbyes are oh so traumatic. upon me? Are you going to come back for me? It's so sad. And the children are crying and weeping and holding on to their mothers. And by this time of year, 8:30 comes and their parents open the door and the child runs in and they're off on their day. So when they come in here, we let them transition. They hang up their things in the cubby room. We say good morning. They find their name on the rug if those names are laid out. They find their name. You know, some of them know that their name begins with a B or a C, and they sort of are learning to recognize that letter in their name. They hang up their name, and then we have circle time. And I call them over. We do circle, and we do a lot of midline crossing and coordination balance movements, as well as fine motor skill with finger plays. Then we sit down, we say good morning to each other by rolling a good morning ball back and forth. Good morning, Ben. And Ben rolls it back. Good morning, Miss Honeysuckle. Good morning, Sean. Good morning. So we do that every morning, and that's kind of funny because they like roll this way and roll that. Anyway, that's fun. And then someone checks the weather. Someone's the morning counter. You know, the job chart. And that changes, and they can go read the job chart. And then we talk about the news for the day. And then we line up, there's a line leader, and we walk to the bathroom, they wash hands, and we sit and have a snack. And we have a really lovely Whole Foods organic food program, and we have morning snack together, and then it's free play for 40 minutes. And then after that, we clean up all together with a song, and you probably know it. And then after cleanup, they sit and we have story, and we do a little bit of number of the day is what we're doing now. So, we count those trucks, how many trucks, what does a 6 look like? So we do that, and then we get dressed and go outside. We're outside in all weather, all temperature, and the children just come prepared to play outside and have fun. And we do that. In the winter, it's a little bit shorter. Some of the younger ones don't really run too fast to sort of get the heater going to stay warm. So taking that into consideration, and then this time of year, April, we're outside for quite a while, 10 to 12, and then inside for lunch. And then children go home, and sometimes I do aftercare till 3, like today, and at that point there's less children, and I have sleepers in the closet. They're like, it's a big wooden cradle, and I put a sheepskin down, and they get their blanket and their pillow, and they lay down, and I cover them with a nice little silky. And they take a rest, and then they get up, and they have another snack, and then their parents come, and they go home. I clean up the room, I wash the bathroom, I put everything back so it's ready for the next day. Take out the compost. And then I go home, I greet my own 2 children, hang out with them for a little bit, check my email, Facebook, and then I cook dinner, and I do homework with the boys if they need that, or we go for a walk. And then we might watch an hour of TV before bed. I'm really into The Voice right now. And then they go to bed, they brush their teeth, and then about 8:30 or 9. And then to bed soon after, about 9:30 or 10. That's my day.
What do you feel are the more important parts of your job?
The more important parts of my job are, one is the parent piece of working with young children. For many of the parents, it's the first time that their children have left them, and that's a huge deal. And one day you may experience that, but it's very difficult for the parent sometimes, most times. So that parent piece is a really important part of my job. Communicating with them, ensuring that, we are going to watch their child and really care for the child the best that we can. And keep them up to date about what's going on in the classroom and how their child's doing in the classroom and who their friends are, and if anything, upsetting happened that day. That parent piece is really, really crucial. So I view that as one of the most important parts of my job. And equally as important is knowing the child, knowing the age range for developmental skills, and seeing them in it and helping them along, and marking it if it's something that's a red flag to me. Just really knowing the child and where they are at developmentally.
What are some parts of your job you especially love?
See, I love doing games with the children, like who's under the blanket? We all sit in a circle and one child will go in the kitchen and hide, and we pick one child and we cover them with the blanket, and then we call the other child back in and we say, who's under the blanket? And he has to look and see. Do you remember doing that? Yeah, it's a very exciting game. Just games like that, also traditional ones like London Bridges or Old King Glory. I really like just playing outside with them, playing chase. I like building forts with them in the woods. I love to teach writing to the older children. And this is how you make a letter. These lines mean A. And when they're ready for it, they're like really into it. And that's exciting.
Patti, I was wondering if you could keep your hand off the chair and the microphone a bit. It was messing with the sound quality.
Oh, yeah,
a bit.
yeah. Totally.
And also, I need to get one camera shot, David told me, of the meeting house preschool sign, just real quick, and then I'll be right back in. So you guys can have like a little break right now or something.
How many people have you guys done this with?
A lot.
The first time I did this was last session, or we did.
Are we rolling?
Yeah.
Are there parts of your job you do not like so much but do because that's a job?
Yes. Well, the recycling. I don't like doing that. I barely do it at my own house. It's really hard to come to work and do recycling again. So, also sort of the state regulations, I don't enjoy sort of the bureaucracy of it. And I do it because it's necessary to keep the school up and running. So that, as well as doing the STARS, which every school needs to do in order to get money from the state, I do that as well. And bookkeeping, I don't really enjoy that, but I do it because it's necessary.
Mm-hmm. What are some of the ways the job has changed over the time that you have worked here?
Well, the job has changed, maybe not in the past, a bit in the past 7 years, but definitely since 13, 14 years ago, in that the state has given more and more recommendations and regulations about what children need to be learning, what they think they should be learning, safety requirements. Out in our yard, there's a fence. When this school first opened, and for many, many, many years, there was no fence at all. The children could just play, and there's a pond back there, a huge pond. And now the state would never let that happen. They would say, no way, Jose, you cannot operate a school that is not safe. So more and more changes like that around safety. Now you have to cook your carrots because it's a choking hazard. That's silly.
Children like cooked carrots.
Chew. I don't like cooked carrots either. They're gross. Crunchy's good. So just lots of those little tiny things that you're not supposed to serve popcorn, choking. We don't serve popcorn anyway, so that doesn't bother. But there's a lot more taken into consideration now with the safety of the school and the filing practices and just a lot of mandates now.
I remember one time all the nuggets called stuff from the corner in winter. What are some of the ways students have changed over time?
Students have changed. Well, when I first started, I feel like children's play wasn't solely from TV and images, and now there's a lot of play. I'm Darth Vader, you're an Ewok, where before it was really a creation of their own inward story that they wanted to tell. And there still is that, but they take that character and they like build it and make it their own. But I'd say that's a lot more frequent and regular. Also, I have these rectangular blocks, and about 2 years ago, a child sat with the rectangular block that's about this big, and he's sitting on the boat. I have a rocking boat. He's sitting on the boat and he goes like this. Like he's looking at his cell phone. And I'd never seen that before. I remember I gasped. I was like, he's on his cell phone. I'd never seen it. You know, it just never happened before. I couldn't believe it. But that's how culture has changed a whole lot in that way.
What are some of the things about the Meeting House School that you feel are unique?
Oh gosh. I think our just the small, tight community that it is, just generally makes it unique in its closeness and care for one another within the greater community and among the parent body. There's just this responsibility towards each other because it's such a small place. And I think that's somewhat unique. I think our program is also unique. You know, we serve these organic whole food meals. Not many schools do that, and it is very cost effective to do that, so it's not like it's a crazy spending item for us. And I also think being an outdoor school is unique. Getting to be less so because science really tells us now that children need outside free play time. So it's going to be more popular, thank goodness, but we've been doing it for a long time, and I think that's unique.
What are some of the challenges and changes that you see coming for preschools in Vermont?
I think as the state mandates more regulations, the program has to spend more time, manpower, womanpower, and money to meet those regulations. However, the cost of preschool is not going up enough to really support that well and pay the teachers well, because families can afford it. So what we're trying to do is get young children into school to give them that social experience and a head start with the academics before they go to kindergarten. And so that's the most important. But as more and more mandates are coming down, more and more preschools are saying, hey, we can't sustain this, we can't do this, we can't do more professional development, it all costs money, and that's challenging for all preschools across the board in Vermont, I think, anyway.
Do you have plans yet for what you'll be doing after the current school year ends?
Well, I'm going to go, you mean summertime? Okay, I'm going to kayak around South Pond a whole lot. I'm going to be with my 2 boys and just enjoying them. We're going to go down to the Jersey Shore, go swimming in the ocean and see their grandparents, my parents, Marge and Joe, as I've stated earlier. And just relaxing, enjoying the long days.
What authors do you like to read for pleasure?
Okay, I like Annie Lamott. I don't really read fiction. I read a lot of nonfiction, so memoirs, biographies, almost on any topic. I read cookbooks, and once in a while I'll pick up a fiction and say, okay, I want to read this, and it's good. So.
What are some of your interests outside of teaching?
Let's see, I love to ride my bike. You guys have seen me ride my bike, right?
Yeah.
I like to ride my bike. It's like my freedom ride. I have little saddles on the side, and I put my water in there or some snacks, and I just go. So, bike riding, being with my children, of course, is huge. part of my life right now. He's very young. So then I like to do needle felting with wool. So making puppets. What else do I do? I'm always busy. I like to play ping pong and win. Yeah.
Is there anything else about your life in Marlboro or your job that you'd like to mention that they haven't asked you yet?
Well, your questions are so thorough. Goodness, I think you covered everything about the school. I will say we had 15 students, I'll tell you that. Not all from Marlboro, but most from Marlboro. And I really enjoy it here in Marlboro and in the meeting house, and I do feel very fortunate to be right here in this time, in this place.
Thank you very much for your time.
Welcome, Rocket. Cut!
Yeah.